Namandam, 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 namandam.
Good morning. Welcome and thank you for joining us today. Joining us for today's Dharma family service, either in person or virtually via Zoom. I am Susan Takiue, and I will be serving as your MC. Assisting at the temple with technical support are Zoom crew members Alan Matsumoto, Lynn Katayama, and Joey Guzman. Corinne Chang is our organist. Please rise and let us start the service with the Vandana and Tisarana. Please chant both the Pali and English parts together with Reverend Blayne. For those of you on Zoom, be sure you have muted your mics.
Namo tassa bhagavato arahato sammasambuddhassa. Homage to him, the exalted one, the enlightened one, the supremely awakened one. Buddham saranam gacchami, Dhammam saranam gacchami, Sangham saranam gacchami. I go to the Buddha for guidance. I go to the Dharma for guidance. I go to the Sangha for guidance. Namanda, Butsunamanda, 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 Butsunamanda.
Please remain standing for an aspiration selected by Reverend Blayne, which I will share with you. May the virtue that leads to enlightenment be shared equally with all beings. May we together awaken the Bodhi mind and be born in the realm of peace and serenity. Namo Amida Butsu.
Namo Amida Butsu.
Namo Amida Butsu.
Namo Amida Butsu.
Namo Amida
Namo
Butsu.
Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu.
Please be seated. It is now time for the offering of incense. We invite all Sangha members in attendance to please come up and offer incense if you wish, starting with the front rows and moving towards the back. Please use both incense burners. Let us now observe a moment of silent meditation. Reverend Blayne will now lead us in chanting the Sutra Jusei. Words can be found on page 55 in the Jodo Shinshu service book. This book, page 55, and on the screen.
The Buddha of infinite light and life made vows to embrace all beings equally, without exception. These vows promise to create a perfect world where no suffering or evil exists and guides us to supreme awakening. The Jusei, or verses reaffirming the vows, is a poetic summary of the basic intention of the 48 vows made by me, the Buddha, to attain supreme enlightenment, to save all who are suffering, and to declare universal salvation through the name Namo Amida Butsu. We chant the words of the Buddha as a reminder of these great vows of compassion made to liberate and to awaken all beings. 最小尊志願役化大仙の感動極小天人東珍妙下ナマンナブナマンナブナマンナブナマンナブナマンナブナマンナブナマンナツナマンダツナマンダ。
Please rise for the singing of the Gatha Namanda Beautiful Sunday. Words can be found on page 7 in the orange folders in the back of the pews. Again, page 7 in the orange folders.
Sunday morning, peace in my heart. Conchos ringing, we're ready to start. Namanda, it's a beautiful day. Shikran started our whole Nanji. Buddha's Dharma, perfect for me. Namanda, it's a beautiful day. Namanda, beautiful Sunday. We say Namanda, beautiful day. When we think pure thoughts, life can be happy. Say Namanda, it's a beautiful day. Higa Buddha, he's calling to me, and trust in him, peace and harmony. Namanda, it's a beautiful day. Join our Sangha, you'll see the way to live the Dharma every day. Namanda, it's a beautiful day. Namanda, beautiful Sunday. We say Namanda, beautiful day.
You may be seated. Reverend Blayne will now share a Dharma message.
Good morning, everybody. So good to see everybody again. I want to take this first, just a quick moment to offer our loving kindness and our aloha to all the victims of the recent mass shooting in our country. Yet another moment of horror and sadness caused by gun violence. And please join me in Gashro, and let's offer our aloha to all those who've been affected by gun violence in our country. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namanda Butsu. Namanda Butsu. So as we welcome spring with its promise of renewal and new beginnings, we celebrate the birth of Shakyamuni, the historical Buddha, for sharing with us this life-giving path of liberation and peace for over the past 2,500 years. The Dharma he shared continues to offer hope for personal and societal transformation and change. The Buddha is known as the awakened one because he woke up to the truths of life and awakened within himself the heart of compassion for the welfare of others. We could consider him woke long before the term became popular. In his first sermon, the Buddha declared, "I teach one thing and one thing only, suffering and the end of suffering," which is the ultimate goal of Buddhism. In the Tanisho, one of the writings of our tradition, Shinran Shonin describes the Pure Land Way as the path of unobstructed freedom, because our assurance of attaining enlightenment is made possible through the compassionate vow of Amida Buddha. Resolving this matter of our birth in the Pure Land when our human life is fulfilled opens us up to living a life of unlimited potential and possibility in the here and now. We don't have to worry about what comes after, because that is assured. What we have to worry about is our lives here and now in this present moment. The Buddha's teachings, though, doesn't give us ready-made answers to life's problems and challenges. Rather, it honors the unique circumstances of our lives by pushing us to go deeper into our own human experience, enabling us to discover the answers within. This is a path of deep self-reflection, which reveals to us a life of profound creativity, allowing us to respond appropriately to our challenges. In his book, Shin Buddhism, Bits of Rubble Turn to Gold, Reverend Dr. Taitetsu Uno shares, since Buddhism is primarily descriptive and not prescriptive, each person is challenged to respond creatively to a given situation. Whatever the challenge may be, whether physical, mental, social, institutional, or historical, we face reality as it is, realizing our limited, imperfect, vulnerable, and mortal self, which is sustained by boundless compassion. On that basis, we proceed to respond creatively to the world, coming up with solutions unique to the problems at hand. What a remarkable way of viewing and responding to life's many challenges. Since we're not confined by rigid rules or prescriptive answers, we don't have commandments in Buddhism. Our problem solving can be imaginative and creative and life-giving. Critical and out-of-the-box thinking is the hallmark of the Buddha's path that offers us realistic hope for living in this world of delusion, of samsara. This following story teaches us about this freedom found in this open-minded and open-hearted way of approaching life. About a century ago, in Japan, there lived a Zen teacher named Nan-in. One day, a university professor came to call on Nan-in at his temple. Come in for some tea," welcomed the old Zen master. Leading the professor to the tea room, they sat down across from each other on a small bare table. The old master sat in silence, perfectly at ease. Occasionally, he smiled at the professor warmly. Other times, he gazed out the window at the enchanting temple gardens. But the professor grew increasingly edgy in the silence. How many people squirm in silence? He tapped his fingers on the table mindlessly. He fixed his eyes anxiously on the door, through which the tea should have arrived by now. Finally, the professor couldn't bear the silence a minute longer. The only thing that came to his mind was to discuss a lecture on Buddhism that he had just given at the university. And so, clearing his throat loudly, the professor began his lengthy speech. The old master, Nan-in, made a fine audience. He nodded in a friendly way at the professor's most outstanding points and seemed to have a look of unending curiosity. So the professor was encouraged and kept going, right? After all, lectures was his business. How many people we know are like this? Half an hour later, still no tea had arrived, but the professor thought it might be impolite to bring attention to that fact. He continued with his speech on Buddhism, and Nan-in continued to be the most courteous of audience. At last, an attendant carried an elegant tray with a ceremonial teapot with 2 cups for the men. Nan-in smiled in his relaxed way, in the deliberate manner of a Japanese tea ceremony. He carefully placed the teacup before his chattering guest. Then Nan-in slowly began to pour the hot liquid into his guest's cup. He poured and continued to pour until the tea water ran like a small waterfall over the cup's brim and into the guest's lap. At that point, the professor's lecture came to an abrupt halt. "What are you doing?" he sputtered at Nan-in. "Can you see that there's no room left in this cup?" Nan-in looked at his visitor earnestly. "Just like this cup, sir, you are also full. You have too many ideas and opinions to learn. Please first empty your own cup. Then together, we can learn something useful about Buddhism." Now, how many of us know people like the professor? How many of us are like the professor? Despite being considered an easy path, Shin Buddhism, this Jodo Shinshu tradition, is quite difficult in that it forces us to do the hardest thing of all, to truly see ourselves illuminated by the light of wisdom and compassion. And within this light, we come to realize our full, imperfect humanness, which is always embraced by great wisdom and compassion. of how by emptying our cup, we discover a life of unrestricted freedom and creativity that is made possible through the working of Namo Amida Butsu. Right, in our saying of Namo Amida Butsu is this emptying, this continual emptying of our cup. We give up our trust in our imperfect self. We give up our ego. We give up all that we think we know and entrust in this dynamic working of the universe of wisdom and compassion that is greater than ourselves. That is Namo Amida Butsu. This emptying of ourself to that which is true and real, that which is eternal, that which is life-giving, and fills us with wisdom and compassion and the mind of enlightenment. The Dharma teaches us how to live with awareness, with compassion, and with grace. This life of continual self-reflection is how we awaken to the dynamic activity of enlightenment in our lives. Living with this awareness, we should naturally embody and manifest the virtues of the Buddha in all that we do. And maybe by remembering to empty our teacups, maybe we can solve the problems of our lives and the problems of our society with openness, with compassion. And so as we celebrate Shakyamuni's birth this month, we also celebrate our own awakening to a life of unlimited possibilities found in the Dharma as we continually empty our teacups, the teacup of our heart and mind. How truly grateful we are to receive this gift of the Buddha's teachings, which enable us to live a life of creativity and change and possibility and wonder. And so, as we conclude for this morning, join me in Gasho as we recite the Nembutsu of gratitude, of awareness, and joy. Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namman Dabutsu, Namman Dabutsu, Namman Dabutsu. Thank you.
Thank you for your great message, Reverend Blayne. Now, Alisa Tagawa will lead us in unison reading of the Shinshu Pledge. Words can be found on the laminated handouts, in the back of the pews, and on the screen. Please join her in reciting the words out loud.
I take my refuge in the vow of the Buddha. Reciting the name, I will live through life and with strength and serenity. I revere the light of the Buddha. I will put my effort in my work with self-reflection and gratitude. I follow the teachings of the Buddha, discerning the right path. I will spread the true Dharma. I rejoice in the compassion of the Buddha. I will respect and help others and do my best for the welfare of humankind.
Thank you, Alisa. We will now have the offertory presentation. Mahalo to all for your generosity. Please rise as we conclude this service with singing of the Gatha Nembutsu.
Namandab, 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 namandab.
You may all be seated. This concludes today's service. Here are some announcements. Upcoming schedule of services, events, and reminders. Next Sunday, April 9th at 10 o'clock a.m., Konohonganji will observe our Hanamatsuri service. Guest speaker will be Reverend Stephen Toyoshima of Higashi Honganji on Oahu. Reverend Toyoshima will share a recorded message. Once again, flowers are needed to decorate the Hanamido. If you have flowers in your garden and are willing to share them, please bring them to the temple on Saturday, April 8th by 10 o'clock a.m. Buckets will be placed outside the conference room door near the temple bell. Again, please bring your flowers on Saturday, April 8th by 10 a.m. Thank you. Regular Dharma family services will be held on Sundays, April 16th and April 23rd. Kyodan President Linda Nagai will share our Dharma message on the 16th. All services will start at 10 a.m. Calling all 2023 graduates. If you have a child or a grandchild that will be graduating or has graduated from high school, 2 or 4-year college, or a professional school this year, please let the temple office know by Monday, April 17th. We would like to honor all 2023 graduates, including those obtaining their masterates, doctorates, etc., at our Dharma family service on April 30th. Reminders: be sure to open, read, and click on attachments and interesting links that were included with Reverend Blayne's weekly update, which he emailed this past Friday. Please pay special attention to both Bishop Matsumoto's and Reverend Blayne's Dharma reflection on the issue of gun violence. Information on scholarship applications is also included in his email. 2023 Temple membership update forms have been mailed out with the April Jiho. Please be sure to complete and return them as soon as possible. Mahalo. If you have not done so yet, please pick up your pre-ordered as well as extra 2023 Humpa Honganji Mission of Hawaii calendars. Also, 125th anniversary souvenir booklet and appreciation gift and free COVID test kits are also available for pickup. Are there any other announcements, Reverend Blayne or anyone else?
Good morning. As Susan said, next week is our Hanamatsuri or Buddha Day celebration here. So we are, and normally every year before pre-COVID, the BWA had manju sale. So we're not having it again this year. We may continue that again, but we are going to be making some manju for refreshments, and of course there'll be extras because you can't only make several, right? You make a lot. So you can come, you can take it home, but you have to come here because we're not delivering. Okay. So come to the service and you can have manju with your coffee, and then we'll have it all prepackaged that you can take home some with you. Also, there will be some hoshigaki available, so lots of hoshigaki available for you to take home if you'd like to have some. So come to the service next Sunday and let's celebrate Buddha's birthday together. Thank you.
Thank you, Linda. Any other announcements? Anyone else? Okay, so for those of you on Zoom, when you are ready to leave, just tap or click on the Leave Meeting button on your screen. Those of you here in person, refreshments will be served in the conference room. Mahalo to Richelle Tagawa, Maki Yamaguchi, and anyone else who brought goodies to share. Your attendance today is most sincerely appreciated. Please stay safe, and we hope to see you at next Sunday's Hanamatsuri service. Thank you.